Greetings, brothers and sisters. I just want to show you this in terms of the merch. So there's all these tabs here, and this wasn't here yesterday. It took a day for the merch to load up. But if you hit that, you'll go to the merch store, and then it'll have these various, I don't know why these are pictures of the back of it. And so it looks like I have some things to do here. But anyways, there's a tab up here for the merch called Store, and that's where you'll find Pockets of the Future and apocalaughsnow merch. So I got a bunch of things to get to today. I just ate a piece of chocolate with hot peppers and Pop Rocks. I can hear the Pop Rocks crackling in the back of my throat. I don't think you can hear them, but I can. Rooster. But anyways, I got a bunch of things to get to. Jimmy Kimmels interviewed JoJo Magoo, and funny Amber Depp Johnny Hurd meme, and a bunch of other things. Like, I can't remember all of them. Some of them more serious than others. And I covered SADS, which is some heart attack disease on my other channel that's killing young people in their sleep, and it's making people sads. But let's get to the other headlines, and we'll get back to the JoJo Magoo thing. Surprisingly, there's a couple of Kim Kardashian headlines. Kim Kardashian soul dies from Khloe Kardashian for Khloe Kardashian as Tristan's baby scandal breaks. I guess this is to do with this new show. And so I guess Kim Kardashian said this: "No, I'm not effing lying. I'm like shaking for her. My soul dies for her." Is Tristan like the worst person on the planet? That's her sister said that. There's the baby mama of the love child, but her soul died for her sister when Tristan Thompson, a mediocre basketball player. You know, I made a joke where Tristan Thompson and Khloe were the big one. Her heart breaks for the big one. We're talking about having another baby. They have a baby named True, and they're going to have another baby named False. But that wasn't the joke. The joke was he's taking time off of his regular job of getting dunked on by better basketball players. So that's Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian. Jewelry. And then Kim got so effing horny when Pete Davidson made his surprising suggestion. Pete is such a good person. I can't even explain it. Like, he just has the best heart and always thinks of small things. She said in the confessional on the show The Kardashians, one time Pete was like, "Babe." Apparently he calls her babe. "Let's go get some ice cream at Thrifty. Oh my God, you are making me so effing horny, Rite Aid, Thrifty. It's literally one of the best nights of my life." Ezra Miller accused of grooming teen with cult-like behavior. Apparently, well, here's the story. In the documents filed in the Standing Rock Sioux Tribal Court Tuesday, obtained by Page 6, activist Chase Iron Eyes and his pediatrician wife, Sarah Jumping Eagle, alleged that Miller, 29, I always want a name like that, right? Uses violence, intimidation, threat of violence, fear of paranoia, delusions, and drugs to hold sway over young adolescent Takata. Is Takata Iron Eyes. So this dude, he's a warrior of love, Ezra, whatever his name is, Ezra Miller, is grooming some Native American 18-year-old. And hopefully he doesn't get away with it. Go broke dates pushback for Social Security and Medicare. A stronger than expected economic recovery from the pandemic has pushed back the go broke dates for Social Security and Medicare, but officials warn that the current economic turbulence is putting additional pressures on the bedrock retirement. The annual Social Security and Medicare trustees will be unable to pay its full benefits beginning in 2035. They can't pay now. How much is in the trust fund? Because if it isn't like $50 trillion, they can't pay, they can't pay, well, anyways. So economic recovery from 2020 recession has been stronger and faster than assumed in last year's reports, with positive effects on the projected actuarial status of the trust fund in these reports. They're taking away Social Security. There's no reason to even, I'm not going to even go on with this because that's what's going to happen. Brian Stelza and Jim Acosta could be too liberal for CNN, report says. I don't consider either one of them liberal, but whatever. That's what they want to say. This is the New York Post. Distraction Couple of the Year award goes to Johnny Hurd and Amber Depp. Here they are with their Illuminati eyes. I don't think of them. I saw this on Facebook. People say distraction all the time, but, they don't need distractions, right? I mean, people will distract themselves. They used to need distraction. Now they don't. Because now they know, because I know, that unless people are starving or, they can't afford, obviously now, gas and whatever and all the things that are happening. But until people don't have electricity and they can't, feed themselves and their families or whatever it is, there isn't going to be any sort of widespread revolt, widespread revolution, right? And so, and we all know this. People are pacified. And once the things that pacify them disappear, then there's going to be something. There's going to be whatever it is. Probably something stupid. And it's not going to be effective because they're already planned for it. So they don't have to do anything in terms of distraction. So I don't know what this is. I mean, but it wasn't what they said it was, right? Johnny Depp's attorneys speak out on Good Morning America with Savannah Guthrie.
And verified Amber Heard's claims of abuse, in particular therapist notes. What is your response to that? And was there evidence that was suppressed for a valid legal reason that might have made a difference?
I think that was very disappointing to hear that and to hear her impugn the character of the jury. And the evidence came in that should come in, and the judge was very fair to both sides.
In particular, she cites the UK judgment. As we all know, Johnny Depp
UK judgment
sued The Sun, a newspaper in the United Kingdom. He lost that case, the judge finding that claims by the newspaper that he was a wife beater were substantially true. Now, Amber Heard's lawyers say that judgment should have come into this court case. What say you?
Was a different process, right? And also, Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard in this case were the parties. They had different disclosure.
Okay, this is boring. So this is a trailer for a superhero played by The Rock, who does a good job at like comedy action roles, right? But this doesn't seem to have any comedy in it. His character name is not intentional comedy. And DC films have been known to be really subpar, right? Marvel is sucking now. Like Marvel films have gotten a lot worse, but DC is just, isn't filling the vacuum. But this happened in the trailer.
Heroes don't kill people.
Well, I do.
Heroes don't kill people. Pause, pause, pause. Dramatic pause. Well, I do. Right? Let's watch that again. That's great.
Heroes don't kill people.
Well, I do.
Okay, so that's going to suck. Okay, so Jimmy Kimmels serviced JoJo Magoo on his show last night, I believe it is. I don't know. I didn't see it, and I don't know anything about it, but I know he serviced him. He got on his knees and serviced him because he already did it with Hunter Biden. And he is a complete sellout as a comedian. Because Hunter Biden, the guy who was a vice president's son and now a president's son, was a crackhead who impregnated a stripper named Dallas from Arkansas and had a crack stripper baby, right? which is just one of many funny things about Hunter and needs to be made fun of. And he's, this guy just completely slathered all over him when Hunter came on with his book that he wrote about being addicted to crack. Now, if that had been the Trump boys, one of the Trump boys, who he makes fun of all the time in an unfunny way, and I'm not a Republican, but he's just a horrible comedian, a horrible human being, right? And so JoJo Magoo has been a joke his whole career, a liar, just a bumbling idiot, and now he's got like some sort of mental deterioration, cognitive difficulties, is also funny, really funny, and they're ignoring it. I know he's just gonna like completely blow this interview and JoJo Magoo. But here, let's start off with a monologue.
It's kind of exciting to have the president come visit you at work, but not everyone's thrilled about his appearance here tonight. The folks over at Fox News and the wannabe Fox News Junior.
So the people who handle JoJo Magoo would never let him go on a show that they know that they don't have a complete shill. And there's degrees of being a shill, and he's a complete shill. Complete get-on-your-knees shill, Jimmy Kimmels, because he sucks, right? And so that's the only reason JoJo Magoo's going on his show.
Juniors are very upset that the president is doing an interview with, of all people, me, while he's in town for the Summit of the Americas.
President Biden is going to make his first late-night appearance.
Okay, so this is some stupid monologue. I would go through this, but I want to just get to the interview. So here he is walking out.
Aviator sunglasses, what Tom Cruise is to aviator sunglasses. I'm proud to say I voted for him dozens of times. He is the reason we all got a cavity search.
Dozens of times. You voted for him dozens of times.
Tonight, please welcome the 46th President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Oh, my God. Take off his mask. Look at him. Look how feeble he looks. Just an absolute tool. And Jimmy Kimmels is going to start out. Let's move forward here.
I thought maybe you wanted me to just stay on Fox all the time.
You know, they're very concerned that I might not ask you serious questions. So
yeah, we know you're not. You're not going to. Look at you, just even now. But look at, he's above him. Look, he's got his higher chair. He's looking down at him.
don't want
They really ask serious questions.
Yeah, right. I don't want to upset them at all. Do you mind if I ask you some serious questions? Because this is,
Not at all.
unfortunately,
Not at all. I never mind having a conversation with someone really smart.
well, Guillermo,
Oh, come on.
maybe you need to take over.
Guillermo's smarter than him. Why is that funny? You making fun of Guillermo? So the first thing he asks him about is gun control, which is something JoJo Magoo wants to talk about and the Democrats want to talk about. And so that's not a hard question. And then he gets into the Republicans here.
Is that your take when you speak to these guys and women behind the scenes, that they are, is there any honesty? Do they acknowledge that they would like to do something?
Well, I think many of them do. I get in trouble for saying this, but I get on.
From who? Who do you get in trouble for?
We have very different views on a lot of things, but I've always had a straight relationship with the Republican leader, Mitch McConnell.
What do you mean by straight relationship? What exactly do you mean by straight relationship there, JoJo Magoo?
He's a guy that when he says something, he means it. I disagree with a lot of what he says, but he means it. There are a number of...
Like when he said we can't confirm a Supreme Court justice with a year left,
That's
and
right.
then said the opposite?
No.
So this is his tough questions. He came out and said, Fox News said he wasn't going to ask any tough questions. He lobbed him the question he most wants to talk about right now, which is a winning issue for the Democrats in, the midterms, gun violence, right? So gun control. And then now he's setting in on Mitch McConnell.
What he did, look, he's a leader of a party that's moved very hard right. And so in order to get anything done, he has a different problem than he did early on.
Just low energy, just, not conscious, just really clueless. Let's move forward to, so no tough questions. So Jimmy Kimmel did exactly what I knew he was going to do, because that's why JoJo Magoo's on the show, for Jimmy Kimmel to service him. All right, so he's 8 minutes and 14 seconds into this interview, and all they've talked about is gun control. And here he is. This is his next question.
I think a lot of Democrats are frustrated because, you know, we got out and voted. We won the House, the Senate, the White House, obviously, and still we have made very little progress as far as...
See, if you were asking a question, you would say you. Not we, because you're not doing anything. You're not a we, you're a voter. You know, you're not a we with him. It's a you. You have made very little progress, JoJo Magoo, on what you promised your Democratic voters. That's what he would say. But he didn't, and makes it, it's already a lame question, but it makes it just, you know, he denutted the question, right?
As I'm concerned, when it comes to guns, obviously, reproductive rights, voting rights, climate change, all these things, and in some ways we've moved backwards.
Well, on climate change, we've actually made some real moves. I mean, we have.
Okay, so that's not a real question, right? Okay, he is going to have a glitch out moment here. I'm fast forwarding a little bit.
Look, here's where we are. We have the fastest growing economy in the world. The world. The world.
The world. The world. The world. The world. The world. Somebody, what's happening, JoJo?
We have 8.6 million new jobs just since I got in office.
Do you mean after the lockdown was reversed, right? Everyone was locked down and people weren't able to go to their jobs and people quit their jobs and businesses were closing down, and then the lockdown ended and there was a bump in jobs. That's what you're taking credit for? That's really sad compared to how much you slammed Trump during the debates about the employment numbers, and Trump had good employment numbers before COVID. And also, it's deceptive because there are open jobs everywhere. People aren't filling those jobs, right? I've talked about this, and many of you have commented on it, that you go to places and every place has a help wanted sign up, and all these businesses are closing. They're fast food restaurants that can't stay open. My son was working at a place, a Wendy's, that was closing at like 7, and some days it was closed altogether. One day the manager got sick, so they just closed. They just closed the Wendy's. I mean, it's really bad out there.
Unemployment rate's down to 3.6%. We've reduced the deficit last year by $320 billion. This year, we're going to reduce it by $1.7 trillion.
Okay. Let's just check that, shall we? So here's the national debt clock, right? It's going forwards. It's not going backwards. And it was at $28 trillion, 27, I'm not sure, when JoJo Magoo got elected. And they haven't factored in yet the bailout money. Like all the money, the COVID bailout money, that hasn't been factored in yet. And so it's not going backwards. What he's saying is they have more tax revenues for whatever reason, raising taxes on the rich, whatever it was, right? And so that's not reducing the deficit. It means they have, more money to spend on other things that aren't going to reduce the deficit. The deficit's going up. We see it right here, right? It's gone up by $2 trillion since he's been in office. And here's the Social Security, unpaid liabilities. And we're at unfunded liabilities, $170 trillion. Things that we have budgeted, including Medicare and Social Security, we have no money for, right? There's no money. U.S. total debt is up from, it was like 78, 80 when he took office. So the debt has gone up substantially. It's at $91 trillion. And so, the economy has not gotten better. Come on.
It's $1 trillion.
Right.
And so we're the strongest economy, and that's allowed us at least to stay on top of and a little bit ahead of what's happening around the world. Second thing is, look.
No, it means that we are paying more money because our currency is more valued. So we're getting things that other people aren't getting because they are selling them to us at a higher price, and we can afford it, right? I mean, that's, that means that other people around the world are starving because of the U.S. economy failure, right?
Inflation is the bane of our existence. Inflation is mostly in food and in gasoline at the pump.
That's what
No, inflation isn't that. Okay, just this guy doesn't understand the economy because he's wearing Depends, right? I mean, he used to be sharper than this. Inflation means the value of the dollar is being devalued, right? And so things are more expensive. They're inflated. Prices are inflated. Things like gas, we have a petrodollar. So that means the dollar is only worth like half of what it used to be. If gas is twice as much as what it used to be last year, and remember when they weren't pumping gas, like they had all this oil they were putting through the refineries, and they didn't know what to do with it because no one was driving because of the lockdowns, and so they had all this glut, and the oil was at a zero. It was at like zero value, right? Gas was at zero value. You could buy stocks in the oil business and make a fortune because it was at its lowest point, the lowest it could be. And, now it's gone the other way because of inflation. The buying power of the dollar is no longer what it used to be, right? It is substantially worth less, and they're covering it up as much as they can. And anything that's a commodity, real estate, oil, gold, food, things that are real, now cost more money because your dollar doesn't buy as much. And that means your retirement has been completely devalued. You could have $2 million in retirement, it means nothing, right? Because people are going to be buying the loaf of bread with a wheelbarrow full of cash, right?
kills you because it's a little billboard telling everyone how expensive everything is. If Donald Trump leaves one of those Sharpies over for you, you could maybe change the price on that,
Bob, we could.
Yeah.
But here,
Woo, it's a good Trump joke, woo!
but here's the deal.
What's the deal, Joe Malarkey? No, JoJo Malarkey?
My dad used to say,
Daddy-O? What's the deal, Daddy-O?
every family needs a little bit of breathing room. If you take and look at all the costs that a family has.
That's what your daddy say 100 years ago. What did your daddy say 70 years ago?
As on a monthly basis. It also includes health care, prescription drugs, child care, all those things. What I'm proposing and I think we can get it done, I'm proposing that we, in fact, reduce the cost of those things. Why should...
Wow, let's make those things cheaper and a dollar that's worth less. Let's be magicians about it, right? Or let's throw government taxpayer money at it. So let's take a break for a little JoJo Magoo gaffe. He's talking about high-speed internet here. I'll play the gaffe and then we'll go back and dissect it.
How many times you see people pulling up to McDonald's sitting outside during the pandemic so they could do their homework because they can get off of their line.
Okay. Let's do the closed captions here just in case we didn't understand what he just said, because we didn't, because what he said was gobbledygook. But let's see what he's saying here.
Families that don't have the internet subscription.
Don't have internet subscription.
How many times you see people pulling up to McDonald's
Well, it's zero for you because you're in a protected... You sit outside in your limousine, your motorcade, watching people pulling up at McDonald's, and then what do you see them do?
Outside during the pandemic.
You see them sitting outside of McDonald's. What are they doing?
So they could do their homework.
So they could do their homework. So you see people pulling up to a McDonald's, sitting outside, doing their homework, I presume, in their car, and you're seeing that how? As president, how are you seeing this? Like, I haven't seen that. I'm not hanging around at McDonald's that long. So where did you get this info? Because whoever gave it to you doesn't know what the F they're talking about. But then he's just going to break down mentally here.
Because they can get off of their...
Get off of their
line.
Their line? Get off of their line. You mean the tube that brings internet to their house? Internet tubes?
We're going to create jobs, Lane.
And then he's going to get into this, right? So this is JoJo Magoo. Okay, back to Kimmels.
Anybody of you in the audience know anybody who has to take insulin every month because they have
Sure.
type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes? Well, guess what? They're charging as high as $1,000 a month in some places, average $647 a month on average. Well, if I pass what I want to get done, which we can do, and we can do it relatively easy, it's not going to cost more than $35 a month. It costs these companies.
Yeah, okay, where's the money going to come from? You mean that the pharmaceutical companies are going to give money back, or you're going to give taxpayer money to them, more taxpayer money to them to drive down the prices? I mean, how is it going to work, JoJo Magoo? Because we know Big Pharma has a strong lobby, and they have you in their pocket. Okay, here's JoJo Magoo. Let's just wrap this thing up here.
Not knowing where they're going, not knowing how to respond, not knowing how to act. And so there's a lot we can do. But the bottom line is, I think that we've seen such a radical shift in one party, and the ability of that party to, that minority of the...
It's the Republicans' fault. They have the House, the Senate, and the presidency, and the media, and the social media, and they can't do anything because of this one small party, you know, the powerless party and their former president, right?
The MAGA folks.
It's like we're living in two countries at once.
Yeah,
Two countries at once. The crazy country, that's that other party, in the same country with these reasonable guys and these shills and these comedians, and him and his crackhead son, who has illegal guns and, you know, I mean, has made money off of his name, which should be illegal and certainly is unethical and immoral, and then impregnated a stripper named Alice, and who's lives in Arkansas. Forgot the best part. And this guy won't acknowledge his granddaughter, and protect her. You know, all these things.
And
It's
so,
like you can be.
Ask him about his grandkid that he won't acknowledge. His son, his crackhead son that you serviced on your show. Ask him about that. Why not?
I've never been more optimistic in my life, though. Tell you why.
Why are you so optimistic? It makes no sense.
I mean, it does make no sense, right? But he's saying it like, oh my God, you're so great for being optimistic. It's because his brain is fried.
Look at the kids. Look at the young people. Best educated, least prejudiced, most giving generation in American history. Turn on the television now.
Are you serious?
No, I'm serious.
All right, there's something to that. Yeah.
No, I'm
There's something to that.
serious. You turn on the TV, look at the ads. When's the last time you saw biracial couples on TV? When's the last time you saw the way, I mean, people are selling products. They do ads to sell products. And they sell products when they appeal to people. This generation is...
No, this is a corporate movement. And again, I have no issues with biracial ads or any of these things, right? But they are purposely pushing a social agenda here. And so you see ads with more diversity, but it isn't because the consumers are asking for it. It's because the powers that be are forcing it on them, right? Feminism and all these various other movements are forcing their agenda in movies that people don't want to see, in ads that people don't want to see, that are turned off to lots of people. And young people are being indoctrinated mostly on social media. They completely don't understand or agree with their parents on a level, and that's always been the case in America. Parents just don't understand, said a great man was a once great man. Why do parents just don't understand? And now it's much worse, right? Now the gap is just, there's no conversation. Many of you experience this with your kids. They have a completely different understanding of reality than you do because of social media, growing up on the internet, and being forced this, indoctrination, right?
Going to change everything. We just got to make sure we don't give up. We just got to make sure we don't give up. We just got to make sure we don't give up. There's an ability for us to do...
What? We're going to give up? What do you mean give up? Like, what does that mean give up? We're just going to lay down and... we're giving up, right? We're all just going to give up. Not going to work today. We're all just going to it's just...
just got to make sure we don't give up. There's an ability for us to do everything from increase the access to education, health.
All right, so that's that. Let's just go to the end here, see if there's anything.
Impose the limitations they're talking about, it's going to cause a mini revolution. They're going to vote a lot of these folks out of office. We got to keep it focused on if they.
All right, that might be something interesting.
But look, it's clear that if in fact the decision comes down the way it does, and these states impose the limitations they're talking about, it's going to cause a mini revolution. They're going to vote a lot of these folks out of office.
A mini revolution. You just said a mini revolution.
We got to keep it focused on if they overrule Roe v. Wade and the state, California won't do it, but other states say that you cannot do the following. It's a law. You can't cross the border. You
Can't kill unborn children anymore. Can't kill fetuses anymore. There'll be a mini revolution.
And all the things that some states have. And you got to make sure that you vote. You got to vote and let people know.
You got to vote because you want to make sure your state allows you to kill a fetus. Make sure your state is allowing you to kill a fetus because, come on, we got to be able to kill our fetuses. What's going on here?
Exactly what the devil you think.
The devil you think. What does the devil think?
Change it.
Yeah, we have to vote for people who are fighting for this country.
Let's listen to that part again. Then we'll end this here.
You got to make sure that you vote. You got to vote and let people know exactly what the devil you think.
Woo!
Change it.
Yeah, we have to vote for people.
Make sure people know what the devil you think. Couple of great memes here for me. I've got so many JoJo memes, I stopped collecting them because he's just a walking meme. But, that's him. That's JoJo Magoo. And this is Jimmy Kimmel, a non-comedian comedian. As I was editing this, I do this with Alec Baldwin a lot, but JoJo Magoo, I had so many memes before he got elected that, I just stopped collecting them. But he did some great ones today. So I've collected all these memes from today, and I'm going to put them together here in a little end-of-video compilation.
Look, here's where we are. We have the fastest growing economy in the world. The world. How many times you see people pulling up to McDonald's sitting outside during the pandemic so they could do their homework because they can get off of their line. We just got to make sure we don't give up. It's going to cause a mini revolution. You got to vote and let people know exactly what the devil you think.
So, yeah, that's our president, right? And the thing about this is, this is how bad things are, just from a social perspective. And I'm not a big social person. I'm an introvert. I don't do well in social interactions and things like this. And I, believe in questioning paradigms, questioning what's considered normal behavior, right? And it's one of the things I liked about Trump as a president. Again, I didn't vote for Trump. But the fact he tweeted at 2 o'clock in the morning and went on rants and went after people and acted unpresidential was wonderful because it's just a joke, right? The difference for the Democrats and the establishment and the Hollywood media and the Hollywood celebrities is that JoJo Magoo is handled and he toes the party line and he at least tries to act presidential, where Trump didn't. Because Trump was sharper mentally and a better president, even though, he didn't act presidential. So it's really about that. And I said that all along. That was their number one thing they had against Trump, that he wasn't willing to play the role. And I like it when people move outside of, normal behaviors and these type of things. I've praised Trump for it, Kanye, other people for it, right? But here are the, ways that people are supposed to act. Now, this is a guy, in terms of the president, who's got a crackhead son, which I find hilarious, right? And the media refuses to cover it, and that's their job. The president has a crackhead son, impregnates a stripper, has a crack baby, again, not the kid, but the mother's a stripper and the father's a crackhead, right? And so a stripper named Dallas from Arkansas. And they refuse to cover it, and comedians refuse to make fun of it, right? And Jimmy Kimmels has this senile president who's always been a bumbling idiot. And he's on his show, and he did the same thing with Hunter Biden. And, he doesn't make fun of them regularly. For some reason, he's obsessed. Well, it's because he's a shill. he's obsessed with Trump and Trump's kids and the Mitch McConnell and the Republicans. But this is the guy, right? This is the guy who's a complete mess. The country's gone full apocalypse, and they're just pretending like it didn't happen. And that's how bad it is, because they're not acknowledging what's really going on. Like even, it's just beyond the emperor has no clothes. And so there we are, right? Only spirituality will save this world. It's paramount, definitely important for the apocalypse and the ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.